Seniors, be careful before it's too late. 9 foods you should always refrigerate, and ignoring this rule could be silently harming your health every single day. Sounds exaggerated, right? But hidden in your kitchen, sitting out on counters, pantries, and fruit bowls are everyday foods that become dangerous, nutrient-draining, or bacteria-rich the moment they're left unrefrigerated. And here's the part almost no one talks about. This isn't just about keeping foods fresh, it's about preventing rapid bacterial growth, nutrient loss, toxin development, and chemical changes that affect seniors far more than younger adults. And the shocking truth, over 90% of people over 60 are storing several of these foods completely wrong, without realizing the damage improper storage can cause to their digestion, immune system, heart health, and even cognitive function. Some researchers now warn that common storage mistakes may be quietly contributing to foodborne illness and chronic inflammation, issues that become more dangerous with age. But today we reveal the real science. In this video, we break down the 9 foods you must always refrigerate, the proven reasons behind it, and the simple steps that protect both the food and your health. And wait until you get to number 2 on our list. Most seniors think it's shelf stable, but the research says otherwise, and the consequences may shock you. Every claim we make is supported by peer-reviewed research, and all source links are provided in the description below. Before we begin, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, your age, and whether you've ever gotten sick from food that seemed fine. We're reading and replying to every comment with personalized tips. Now, without any further delay, let's get started. Number 9, eggs. This one confuses more people than you'd ever imagine, especially seniors who grew up in a time when eggs sat comfortably on kitchen counters without anyone worrying. But here's the truth modern science makes impossible to ignore. If you're in the United States or any country that washes its eggs, leaving them unrefrigerated is not just a bad idea, it's dangerous. And I'm not exaggerating, the moment eggs are washed commercially, their natural protective coating, called the cuticle, is stripped away. Without it, the shell becomes a sponge, a porous, unprotected gateway that allows bacteria like Salmonella enteritidis to slip through microscopic openings and multiply inside the egg itself. A study from the USDA found that unrefrigerated eggs can reach unsafe bacterial levels in as little as 2 hours. 2 hours. That means the carton sitting out during breakfast, the eggs sitting near the stove, or the ones kept in a warm pantry are quietly transforming into potential health hazards. And this is especially critical for seniors. As we age, our immune systems weaken, making us far more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses. What would cause mild discomfort in a younger adult can lead to dehydration, hospitalization, or worse in someone over 60. But the refrigerator does more than just slow bacterial growth. Cold temperatures preserve the egg's structural proteins and protect essential nutrients like choline, which supports memory, nerve function, and cognitive health. Nutrients older adults cannot afford to lose. And here's something most people don't know. The door of your refrigerator, and the place almost everyone stores their eggs, is the worst spot in the entire appliance. Every time you open that door, warm air rushes in, creating temperature swings that accelerate spoilage and weaken the egg's internal membrane. That's why your eggs should always be stored on a middle or lower shelf, in their original carton, away from strong odors and stable at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Handle them correctly, and eggs can stay fresh for weeks. Leave them out, and the risk multiplies faster than you think. The difference between refrigerated and unrefrigerated eggs isn't minor. It's a matter of safety. Your health deserves the safer choice. Number 8, leafy greens. Spinach, lettuce, kale, arugula, the foods everyone calls superfoods, especially for seniors. But here's the part almost nobody knows. The moment leafy greens are left unrefrigerated, they begin to lose their nutritional power at a shocking rate. And I'm not talking about slight changes in texture. I'm talking about rapid nutrient collapse and bacterial growth that can turn a bowl of salad into a silent health threat. A study from the University of California found that spinach kept at room temperature loses up to 75% of its vitamin C in just 24 hours. That means by the next day, the greens you thought would strengthen your immune system have already lost the majority of their most fragile antioxidants. But the danger doesn't stop there. Leafy greens contain high moisture levels and delicate cell structures. When left out, even briefly, their cell walls begin to break down. As the leaves wilt, they release water, and that moisture creates the perfect breeding ground for bacteria like Listeria monocytogenes, which is particularly dangerous for adults over 60. Listeria doesn't need warm temperatures to multiply. It thrives in the danger zone of room temperature, and wilted greens accelerate the process. The CDC has repeatedly identified leafy greens as a leading source of foodborne outbreaks, and older adults are the most likely to develop severe complications like dehydration, gastrointestinal inflammation, and prolonged recovery times. Refrigeration slows all of this down. The cold temperature preserves vitamin content, stabilizes chlorophyll, and stops harmful bacterial colonies from exploding. But here's something most people get wrong. Stuffing greens tightly into a sealed plastic bag suffocates them. They need airflow, not trapped moisture. The best storage method? Keep them in a breathable bag with a dry paper towel to absorb excess moisture and place them in your refrigerator's high humidity crisper drawer. This simple step can extend freshness by up to a week while protecting the nutrients your body relies on for strength, vision, and immune function. Number 7, dairy products. Milk, yogurt, soft cheeses, cream, the foods most people assume are safe as long as they look fine. But here's the truth almost no one over 60 hears. Dairy becomes dangerous faster than almost any food in your kitchen when left unrefrigerated, and the consequences for seniors can be far more serious than for younger adults. I'm not exaggerating. Dairy creates the perfect environment for harmful bacteria the moment it rises above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The proteins and natural sugars in milk and soft cheeses act like fuel, allowing microbes such as Listeria, E. coli, and Campylobacter to multiply rapidly. A study from the CDC found that dairy left even slightly above safe temperatures can reach hazardous bacterial levels in under 2 hours. Under 2 hours? That carton sitting on the counter while you cook, that bowl of yogurt you forgot on the table, they're no longer harmless. And here's where it gets especially critical for seniors. As we age, stomach acid levels decrease and immune response slows, giving bacteria a chance to survive, spread, and cause infection. What may give a young adult mild stomach cramps can lead to dehydration, severe diarrhea, or hospitalization in someone over 60. But the refrigerator doesn't just prevent bacterial explosions, it protects the structure of dairy itself. Cold temperatures stabilize the delicate enzymes and proteins that give milk its creamy texture and preserve the probiotics in yogurt that support digestion. Without refrigeration, these compounds degrade rapidly, making dairy not only unsafe but nutritionally weaker. Yet most people still make one huge mistake: storing dairy in the refrigerator door. Those shelves feel convenient, but they're the warmest part of the entire appliance. Every time you open the door, temperature spikes hit your milk and cheese like waves of heat. These constant fluctuations accelerate spoilage and weaken dairy's natural defenses. The safest place? Deep inside the refrigerator, ideally the back middle shelf, where temperatures stay steady. Soft cheeses like ricotta, brie, and cottage cheese are even more vulnerable. Their high moisture content means bacteria spread through them faster than through firmer cheeses. Once opened, they must be sealed tightly and consumed within a week, no exceptions. Number 6, cooked meats and leftovers. This one surprises people the most because once food has been cooked, most assume it's automatically safe. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. Cooked meats become more dangerous more quickly than raw meats when left unrefrigerated. Once you heat food, you destroy many of the natural defenses that kept bacteria in check. What's left is a nutrient-rich, moisture-heavy environment, basically the perfect breeding ground for pathogens. The USDA calls the period between 40 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit the danger zone, and cooked meats hit that zone within minutes of being left out. From that moment, bacteria like Clostridium perfringens and Staphylococcus aureus begin multiplying at exponential rates. These organisms aren't subtle. They produce toxins that aren't destroyed by reheating, meaning once they've taken hold, there's no way to cook the danger out. For adults over 60, this becomes an even more serious issue. As digestion slows and immunity weakens, the body becomes more vulnerable to foodborne toxins. And here's something most people get wrong. The 2-hour rule isn't a suggestion. It's a strict guideline backed by decades of microbiological research. If cooked meat or leftovers sit out for more than 2 hours, just 1 hour if the room is warm, they should be discarded. No sniff test, no, it looks fine. But the real danger often happens inside the refrigerator. Storing leftovers in deep containers keeps the center warm for hours, giving bacteria time to thrive. The correct method? Transfer cooked meats and leftovers into shallow, airtight containers so they cool fast and evenly. Refrigerate immediately, don't wait for them to cool down on the counter. That outdated myth only increases risk. Labeling containers with dates matters too. Even properly stored leftovers should be eaten within 3 to 4 days. After that, bacterial growth becomes unpredictable. Number 5, fresh berries. Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. These tiny fruits are packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and compounds that protect your heart and brain. But here's the shocking truth most seniors never hear. Fresh berries left unrefrigerated can turn from superfood to health hazard faster than almost any other fruit. And it's not just about mold forming on the surface. Berries have delicate skins and high moisture content, making them a playground for bacteria the moment they're exposed to room temperature. Research published in the Journal of Food Protection found that berries left at ambient temperatures developed harmful microbial populations 7 times faster than refrigerated berries. For seniors, even a small exposure to pathogens like salmonella or listeria can lead to severe illness, dehydration, and prolonged recovery, far worse than the minor stomach upset a younger adult might experience. But the danger doesn't stop there. As berries sit out, their cell walls start to break down, releasing juice that spreads bacteria across the entire batch. That perfectly red, juicy strawberry you thought was safe, by the time you bite into it, invisible microbes may already be multiplying. And the antioxidants, flavonoids, and vitamin C that make berries so valuable, they degrade rapidly at room temperature. A study from Cornell University showed that unrefrigerated berries lost up to 50% of their vitamin C content within 24 hours, robbing seniors of nutrients critical for immune defense, cognitive support, and cardiovascular health. Refrigeration slows all of this down. The cold temperature preserves the cellular structure, locks in nutrients, and halts bacterial overgrowth. But here's a key mistake most people make: washing berries before refrigerating them. Moisture accelerates mold and bacteria growth, so always wash just before eating. The best method: keep berries in their original container, place them in the coldest part of your fridge, ideally between 34 and 38 degrees Fahrenheit, and avoid tightly sealing them in plastic that traps moisture. Check daily and discard any moldy berries immediately. One contaminated berry can ruin the rest. Number 4, open jars. Pickles, pasta sauces, salsa, minced garlic, olives, foods we assume are safe because they come in sealed, sturdy containers. But the moment that seal pops, everything changes. Open jars become one of the most underestimated sources of bacterial growth in a senior's kitchen, and almost nobody realizes why. Once exposed to air, every dip of a spoon or spread of a knife introduces microscopic contaminants. Even if you can't see them, bacteria such as Staphylococcus aureus, yeast SPP, and lactobacillus begin multiplying inside the jar, especially if it's left out on the counter just for a little while. What looks like perfectly good sauce can become a colony of harmful microbes in hours, not days. Here's the shocking part. The preservatives people trust to keep jarred food safe don't work at room temperature once the jar is opened. Acidity levels shift, moisture rises, oxygen activates yeast and mold spores that were dormant. The USDA notes that open jars of high-moisture foods spoil up to 4 times faster at room temperature, even if they still look fine. And for seniors, consuming spoiled, jarred foods can be particularly dangerous. With age, stomach acid becomes less potent, digestion slows, and the immune system weakens. This allows bacteria from contaminated sauces or condiments to survive longer in the body, increasing the risk of gastrointestinal infection, dehydration, and serious complications. But here's the biggest mistake nearly everyone makes: letting an open jar sit on the table during a meal. Even 20 or 30 minutes at room temperature allows the surface of the food to warm enough for rapid bacterial activation. And dipping the same utensil back into the jar introduces saliva, oils, and food particles that supercharge bacterial growth, something known as microbial backwash. Refrigeration immediately slows this process, stabilizing the pH, halting yeast activation, and preventing mold from spreading beneath the surface where it can't be seen. Number 3, nuts and nut butters. Almonds, walnuts, cashews, peanuts, and the creamy spreads made from them are often praised as healthy fats, essential for brain and heart health. But here's the part almost nobody over 60 is ever warned about. Nuts and nut butters become dangerous long before they look or smell spoiled, especially when they're stored outside the refrigerator. Unlike many foods that show obvious signs of decay, nuts degrade silently. Their healthy fats begin to oxidize the moment they're exposed to warm air, triggering a chemical process that produces toxic compounds known as aldehydes. These aren't just unpleasant, they're linked to increased inflammation, cellular stress, and digestive distress, especially in older adults whose bodies process damaged fats more slowly. And nut butters, they're even riskier. Once opened, that creamy texture becomes a perfect environment for mold spores and bacteria to take hold. Even a thin layer of oil rising to the top can trap heat and accelerate rancidity, a process that can begin in as little as a week when left unrefrigerated. Studies in food safety journals show that oxidized nut oils can contain up to 20 times more peroxides than fresh oils, compounds the body struggles to detoxify. Yet the most dangerous part is that rancid nuts often don't smell as bad as people expect. The subtle bitterness can easily go unnoticed, especially for seniors whose sense of taste naturally dulls with age. That means you could be consuming toxic, inflammatory lipids without realizing it. Natural nut butters, especially those without added stabilizers, must be refrigerated the moment they're opened. Otherwise, mold can develop below the surface where it can't be seen. Number 2, fish and seafood. Of all the foods in your kitchen, fish and seafood are the most unforgiving when left unrefrigerated, even for a short time. And here's the truth almost no one tells older adults. Seafood doesn't just go bad, it becomes biologically dangerous at a speed that shocks even food scientists. The proteins in fish begin breaking down the moment they warm above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, releasing compounds that fuel the growth of deadly pathogens like Vibrio, Salmonella, and Listeria. These bacteria aren't slow. They multiply rapidly, doubling in number every 20 minutes. That means the fillet you thought was fine for now could be teeming with microbes in the time it takes to run a quick errand. And for seniors whose immune defenses are naturally weaker, the consequences can be devastating. Severe dehydration, sepsis, and in the case of Vibrio, even life-threatening bloodstream infections. But here's the part most people never see coming. Even if the seafood doesn't grow harmful bacteria, it can still become toxic through a chemical process known as histamine formation. Fish like tuna, mahi-mahi, mackerel, and sardines contain natural amino acids that transform into histamine when left warm. And once histamine forms, no amount of cooking can destroy it. The result? Scombroid poisoning, a reaction that can cause flushing, headaches, vomiting, and dangerous spikes in blood pressure, especially in adults over 60. This is why seafood safety experts say fish should be treated like a medical specimen, cold, controlled, and handled immediately. Refrigeration, of course, slows these processes, dramatically protecting the delicate omega-3 fatty acids seniors rely on for brain, heart, and joint health. But even inside the refrigerator, seafood must be stored correctly. Raw fish belongs on the bottom shelf, packed in airtight wrapping or on ice, far from ready-to-eat foods. And leftovers, they're only safe for up to 2 days, a strict limit, not a suggestion. Number 1, fresh-cut fruit and vegetables. They look harmless, hydrating, colorful, refreshing. But here's the truth almost no one over 60 is ever told. The moment fruit or vegetables are cut, they become one of the most dangerous foods to leave unrefrigerated. Cutting produce isn't just preparing it, it's damaging it. The knife breaks the plant's natural protective barrier, exposing every moist, nutrient-rich cell to oxygen, microbes, and rapid spoilage. And what happens next is something most people never imagine. Bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria, organisms that were once harmlessly sitting on the outer skin, are pushed deep into the flesh during cutting. Once inside, at room temperature, they multiply at terrifying speed. Within just 90 minutes, microbial levels can rise high enough to cause foodborne illness, especially in older adults whose immune systems can't neutralize threats as quickly as they once could. But the danger doesn't stop there. Nutrient loss is immediate. Vitamin C, folate, and antioxidants begin breaking down the second the produce is exposed to air. A study from the USDA found that cut fruit stored at room temperature can lose up to half of its vitamin content in just a few hours. That means the melon you sliced for a healthy snack or the veggies prepped for dinner may already have lost the very nutrients you're trying to consume. Worse, the moisture released from fresh-cut pieces creates the perfect climate for bacteria to thrive. This is why pre-cut fruit sold in stores is kept in ice-cold displays. Not for aesthetics, but because without refrigeration, those neat cubes of cantaloupe or pineapple become microbial magnets. And here's a common but risky mistake: leaving fruit salad, sliced cucumbers, or cut tomatoes on the counter just until dinner. Even 20 to 30 minutes at warm room temperature is enough to kickstart bacterial growth. Refrigeration immediately slows these reactions, preserving both safety and nutrition. The proper method? Store cut produce in shallow, airtight containers to ensure rapid cooling. Keep them at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below and consume within 2 to 3 days, no exceptions. The truth is, small habits add up. And for seniors, every nutrient, every precaution, and every smart choice matters. By understanding how refrigeration really affects these foods, you're already ahead of 99% of people your age, and protecting your gut, heart, and brain in ways most never realize. Now we want to hear from you. Which food on this list surprised you the most? And are you guilty of refrigerating any of them without knowing the hidden risks? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Thanks for watching, and remember, proper storage isn't just about food, it's about your health, your longevity, and your future.